Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. Right, time for a very special battle report for you today. Return of the Royal Guard, and we are playing against this pretty awesome Star Wars themed Imperial Guard army, and we have a very special guest, which is Scrag Guard. So hello Scrag Guard.
For the Emperor.
For the Emperor. He's even got his Stormtrooper t-shirt on, ready to try and beat my Eldar army. So, Scrag Guard of course has his own channel, and if you want to see more of this amazing Star Wars army, don't forget to go and check it out. I will put a link in the description below, well worth subbing to. Okay, so I think we'll start off by Scrag Guard running over his army. So if you'd like to do the honours.
Right, we've got a Vendetta in reserve. And then we've got the Wraith Knight Rancor, which is a bare bones Rancor with the Ghostclave and Scat Shield. Then we've got a Company Command Squad with Vader leading. He's got, hang on a second, he has bare bones with a Medic and Master of Ordnance in there.
Okay.
You've got the Prime Striker in with this squad. It's a Veteran Squad with a las cannon. We've got a Veteran Squad here with 3 melter guns. Another Veteran Squad here with a Company Commander, what I'm talking about, with a 3 Flamers and a Commissar. We have a regular Eldar Jet Bike Squad.
Okay.
And another one over here. We've got another Veteran Squad here with a las cannon. We've got 2 Manticores back here. 1 Armoured Sentinel with las cannon and searchlight. We've got a Wraith Guard unit, and we have a Wraith Blade unit with the Elder Farseer, which is Darth Maul, and then infiltrated in 6 Ratlings.
And they are Jawas, I believe.
Oh yes.
Yep. Okay, so yeah, the army looks absolutely awesome. I can't wait to play this game. We have rolled off, and we ended up with the Maelstrom mission Deadlock. So it'll be 6 cards to start with, and then they deplete as we go down. I'll talk about the objectives in a minute. Let's quickly run over my list. So where to start? So we have another Wraith Knight. So yeah, Lord of War, and once again I've got the sword, the bat'leth there with the shield. Troops wise, I have 4 squads of 3 scatter jet bikes, and then I have 2 wave serpents with minimum Dire Avenger units in. Then we have 2 fire prisms and also 1 Valken with the Bright Lance. That's an empty one. And then 1 more wave serpent, and that has got what we're going to be playing for the Return of the Royal Guard. I have my Royal Guard Spirit Seer with some Wraith Blades with D-Scythes, and lastly in reserve I have my Crimson Hunter Exarch. Objective wise, we have 1 just here underneath the fire prism, 1 there underneath the Valken, and 1 over there underneath the Wave Serpent, and then on this side of the table we've got 2 here behind the defence line, and the last one is up behind that ruined Necron building. Okay, so the Eldar are currently going first, so let's see if this Empire army wants to seize the initiative.
Oh yes.
Okay, so do you want to roll for it? Let's see what happens. An important roll potentially here. Oh, a 5. Not quite. Okay, so it's going to be turn 1 for Eldar. Okay, so yeah, the initiative wasn't seized, so I have drawn my cards. I've got 2 cards to take that objective there and the objective behind the building. So not great cards there, but I've got a couple of good cards. Have 3 units in my deployment zone and no enemy, and also hold 3 objectives, which I'm currently doing, so that's pretty good. So sort of half decent cards, but not amazing, but pretty decent. In terms of my psychic powers, I went on the Runes of Battle, and I have the Conceal, Destructor and Protect on my Spirit Seer. Okay, so I'm going to do turn 1, and we'll be back. Okay, so that was my turn 1. Primary target was to get some form of first blood. It was quite tough choosing targets, to be fair. Not really had too much experience with Imperial Guard. It's actually the first time I've ever played against Eldar as well, so quite interesting. In the end, I'd started shooting at the Wraith Blades with my fire prisms, with the AP3 templates, which seemed to make sense. Managed to whittle 3 of those down with the shooting, and then I took the last couple out with some scatter jet bikes. Managed to kill 2 of the Royal Guard Wraith Blades just up over there. Those jet bikes just turbo boosted onto objective 6, which is what I needed to claim for a point. Everything else just shuffled around, just spreading out, because you've got those 2 manticores. Then the other target was the Rancor, the Wraith Knight over there. I popped some lances into him, some scatters into him, but he just pinged them off his armour, or off his fur. Also had a go at taking out a manticore, or at least damaging it a little bit with the Wraith Knight scatter lasers. Didn't do anything, but I did manage to take off 1 whole point off of the Sentinel. And yeah, even more shooting. The jet bikes managed to take out the jet bikes that were there, 3 jet bikes, and that was, I think actually that was first blood rather than the Wraith Guard, but there you go. So in total I managed to score 3 cards. I got 2 points for one of the cards for having 3 objectives. Then I got 1 point for gaining that objective at the back there. And then I got 1 point for having 3 objectives in my deployment zone. Along with first blood, it gave me 5 points in the first turn, which is a very reasonable start indeed. But now the Empire may strike back as we go into turn 1 for Imperial Guard. Okay, so turn 1 for the Empire. Turned his cards over, got a selection of cards, most of them objective takers, and some of them in his deployment zone, so he's always going to get some form of points. Okay, so what happened over in the corner there, my very susceptible bikes that went over to score that objective there got attacked by the Royal Guard Wraith Guard unit and the Farseer, Darth Maul, and very easily wiped them out, and then consolidated on that objective round the corner, so that could be a tricky one if I ever get that card again. Other things to note were a lot of bad dice rolls from the Empire. So bad, in actual fact, that a dice change was done. Yes. So yeah, big guy, the Wraith Knight, a few shots coming at him, but I saved everything that came through. This Wave Serpent here got shot at, and I did jink, which I managed to save. And then the Manticores, both shot at the Wraith Knight, some good hits, but I did save everything except for one of the scatters. On the scatter bikes that were there, I lost 2 from the Manticore, and then the last one failed leadership, and it was currently running towards the edge of the board. So that was the turn. The only other thing to note was the Rancor Wraith Knight moved up 12 inches, attempted to assault my jet bikes. Needed a 10, rolled a 7, so failed. So the board is in my court now, whether I take my Wraith Knight over to him, or if I go to the slightly squishier guard and let this guy come into my ranks. So we'll have to see, probably depending on which cards I draw. Okay, so points wise, I managed to score 3 objectives, which were basically the ones over in the deployment zones there. So the score is pretty close at the moment. It's 5-3 to the Eldar as we move into Eldar turn 2, and do have some reserve, so let's just get a dice and roll that. This is for the Crimson Hunter Exile, which is out on a 3. More to come. Okay, so the IDIC Eldar turn 2, and the Crimson Hunter came screaming on here, eyeing up the Manticore just there. Managed to get 1 penetrating hit, weapon destroyed. We rolled a dice and the heavy bolter went. Also managed to immobilise it as well. So that was that one. And then, well, I had no choice. I had to take on the big guy there with my Wraith Knight, so I moved up my Wraith Knight ready to assault, and as you can see we made it into assault. I'll talk about what happened in a second. The rest of my units just basically eyed up the Imperial Guard, because the cards that I've drawn I basically have to take both of those objectives just there. So I started opening up there. They've all gone to ground pretty much, apart from the one unit at the back, and the bikes haven't gone to ground, so I didn't shoot them. So hopefully I've impounded their firepower a little bit, but the numbers are still there. There is one unit which is running, and that was basically all I really did. I took one more pop shot at the Manticore and also at the Sentinel there, but no damage. So then we went into the assault, managed to get in. We obviously had exactly the same stats, except I had one more attack, and I totally whiffed. I totally failed to hit. I did the mastercrafted roll and I did hit there, but then I failed to wound. And then the attack backs were quite devastating. I'm down to one wound, so yeah, very nasty assault from my point of view. We'll see what happens in the next round. I need to do some serious damage on him in the next round, because if that guy's left standing there and he managed to get into the range of my tanks, etc., I could be in big trouble. And alternatively, if my guy still stands there, I could get into those stormtroopers, and yeah. So it's all to play for as we move into the Imperial Guard turn 2. Okay, so that was turn 2 for the Imperial Guard. I forgot to mention on my turn 2 I managed to get 2 more cards, basically 2 objectives that were in my deployment zone. Sorry, one objective in my deployment zone, and the other one was issuing an assault, which I obviously did on Rancor. I'll come to this assault at the end of this little recap. So what happened? The Vendetta here screamed on, nose to nose with my Crimson Hunter Exarch. Shocked me. I lost 2 weapons, just one a Bright Lance left, and 2 hull points gone. So on my last hull points I've jinked 1 weapon, weakened down dramatically. The jet bikes moved up, and also these regrouped guard shot up at me as well, trying to get that last hull point off, but failed. A few orders were issued for the units that had gone to ground to get back up, and the main target priority was to rescue the the Spirit Seer, the Royal Guard, or ultimately to sort out the Wraith Guard unit there with their D-sights. So the Manticore shot in, and the last cannons, my vehicle got wrecked, the guys got out, got hit by the rending snipers over there. I lost 2 of my Wraith Guard. Didn't found any leaderships. The Farseer lost a wound. Serves him right for being such a traitor to the Empire. Over there, the Royal Guards going on the rescue moved around the building, tried to assault my tank, but failed through the rubble and ruins. And then we went on to the big assault, and as you can see, I'm still standing. So we attacked obviously at the same time. Rancor managed to get some wounds, but I managed to save everything with my shield and feel no pain. I then attacked him back. I didn't roll particularly well, but I rolled better than last time, and I managed to take 3 wounds off. So it's 3 wounds versus 1. Very interesting as we move in to turn 3 for the Eldar. Okay, so my turn 3. Disregarded a card, picked a couple more up, and I now have awful cards. I have 2 cards to score that objective there. I have a card to remove a character, and I have a card to issue a challenge. So yeah, not very doable cards. However, we pushed on. The Crimson Hunter moved from there, vector danced all the way over there, attempted to shoot the Manticore, but missed, rolled a 1. And then I shot the Valken up over at the other Manticore, and as you can see from the smoke, I managed to take that last hull point off, so cleared the decks with at least one of them. The Wave Serpent moved away from the Royal Guard as they tried to assault me last time, and I just jiggled everything around just here. I shot some of the scatter lasers in, First target was the stormtroopers over in the open there, so I used the serpent shield on one of my tanks, destroyed that unit. Then I worked on the other stuff behind the defence line because I've got to get this objective. Managed to take 2 of the bikes out. He didn't run, which was fortunate as he's right next to the edge of the board. And then I shot 2 fire prisms in, one on that unit there with the last cannon. They went to ground, 2+ save, they lost 1. I then shot Darth Vader's unit, and he didn't go to ground. He saved very well with a 4+ save, and then the last wound was saved with feel no pain, so the force was strong with Vader. My Wraith Guard, yeah, I tried to do a little trick. I tried to move the Spirit Seer away from the Wraith Guard to get into the tank, and then move the Wraith Guard up here to flamer the Stormtroopers. But my rough terrain check was 2 inches, so I totally failed. So the Spirit Seer stayed with the Wraith Guard. I then tried to run them a bit closer, and I rolled 2. So yeah, okay. That was it. I scored 0 points that turn. As we move into the Imperial Guards, turn 3. Oh, what else? Yes, I forgot. Yes, the big thing happened. So the Rancor, as you can see, and the Wraith Knight basically killed each other, which I think, to be fair, we were both happy with that result because it's evened up the game quite happily. I think it's, I think it's pretty fair to say that if one of those knights had survived, it probably would have been pretty much a disaster for our opponent. So I think that was a good result, and we were both pleased with that, and it should make the game continue on in a nice friendly manner. Okay, more to come. Okay, so turn 3 for the Empire. So the single jet bike that was there, got a bit confused, couldn't find the forest, tried to get into this rubble here with his jet bike moves, but rolled a double 1, so he's just standing there in the open. The rest of the stuff was pretty successful though. The Vendetta went into hover mode, and even in hover mode still managed to take out the last whole point of my Crimson Hunter, and that was pretty useful because that was an objective card that he had, so they gave him an extra point. Some orders were taken. Everyone basically stood up that had gone to ground previously, and pretty much everything opened up fire on my Wraith Guard and Farseer. The Farseer took 1 more wound. It was not Farseer, sorry, Spirit Seer. Took 1 wound, and there's 1 Wraith Guard left, so I've got to get back into unit coherency next turn, or split them off at least. And then those guys over there, Darthmore, making a headway towards me. The other thing of note was that my fire prism here was immobilised, and I believe that was from Han Solo over in the Sentinel there. That guy there. And that was it. So we are now going to move into turn 4. It's pretty close, there's 3 points between us. More to come. Okay, turn 4 for the IDIC Eldar. Right, so with the cards that I had, my main objective was to try and kill a character. I disregarded my issue a challenge card, and then I had 2 objective 3s, which is this one here. So the Spirit Seer, I managed to get a 6 for my rough terrain check, so the Spirit Seer moved off, he got inside the Vulcan that turned around, so he's in there on 1 wound, and then I moved the Wraith Guard up. I then shuffled around to get as best target as I could on the Stormtroopers that were there. The first unit had 2 Stormtroopers taken away by the Wraith Guard, and then I shot some scatter lasers in. I managed to kill another 2 that were closer to the objective. I made sure that closest ones were the objective ones, so they went down, and then I shot the guys at the back. I only had to kill 1 guy. 1 guy was in 3 inches. They did go to ground, but managed to kill just that single guy. Freed up the objective, so I turbo boost that unit onto the objective. That gives me 2 victory points. Very useful indeed. I had to ignore this little annoying bike, because my fire prisms weren't quite in range to see him, so instead they shot out the Vendetta. I was sort of saving the fire prisms for here if needed. So yeah, shot the Vendetta, it did jink. I managed to get a can only snapshot and can't move result. Meanwhile, I took the opportunity as the Wraith Blades moved out of cover to shoot with my Falcon, and I managed to take both Wraith Blades off. I then shot in my Wave Serpent. I used the shield. I rolled 10 shots, and of course Farseer is only toughness 5, so they were instant death shots. Toughness 3, sorry. That's, well, I meant to say 3. Only toughness 3, so of course that was instant death, and he failed 1 save, took him off the board, and I had a character, get a character card, so that was another point. And that was the end of the turn, so I successfully got all of my cards, 3 points, and leaves me free now to pick up 2 more cards in the next turn. But of course the Empire will strike back as we move in to turn 4 for Imperial Guard. Okay, so turn 4 and the Empire has striked back. So with the Kingslayer card, and just because he was a traitor, the #1 target was the Spirit Seer. So even though the Vendetta was snap firing, it still managed to destroy my Vulcan, and then the character died from the explosion, believe it or not. So he went down, and that was Slay the Warlord, and he got the Kingslayer card, so 2 points back there. He then shot at my bikes with the ordnance, killed 2 of them. I managed to not run away, which was useful. Over here, this little guy, little sneaky guy there, probably going for a line breaker. And then the stormtroopers shot into my bikes, killed 1, then assaulted me. I killed 1 stormtrooper, 1 of my bikes died in the assault, and we're just locked in combat basically there. So that was that. The Manticore with its last missile shot in over here, but scattered off and missed. So the points are very, very close at the moment, too close to call. I have to pick up 2 more cards as we move in to turn 5. Okay, turn 5 for the Eldar, potentially the last turn. I drew out 2 more cards. I managed to claim this objective, pretty useful, but the second one not quite so useful. Claim the objective all the way over there that Darth Vader is near. I settled for just getting the 1 point, and my main target was going to be the Vendetta and also this lonely jet bike guy. So I moved the fire prism there, shot the one-shot Wonder Lance, failed to miss, snapshot the shuriken cannons, but nothing. So he survived. I then opened up the first fire prism on the Vendetta, which was took 1 whole point off, and then shot these scatter lasers. The jink saves were all saved, and then I used these scatter lasers, managed to get 2 6s to pen, well, glance, and then the cover saves weren't taken, so the Vendetta went down. The only other action was my single jet bike just there, basically turbo boosting all the way over there, right next to that, whatever it is, Manticore.
Yep.
Yeah, what's the Star Wars equivalent called?
Hellfire Droid.
A Hellfire droid. There you go. We went into the assault here. We couldn't hurt each other, so we just locked in combat. So I got 1 more point, which puts me, I believe I'm on 11, and the Imperial Guard are currently on 7, as we move into turn 5 for the Imperial Guard. Okay, so turn 5 for the Empire. 2 cards were drawn, and the 2 cards that you had were to destroy a unit in the shooting phase, and if you could destroy 3 units, it was D3 on 1 of the cards. So pretty decent cards, but there wasn't too much shooting left. However, a good attempt was made. So the little jet bike guy, he turbo boosted all the way over there to try and get on line breaker, and then the firing opened up. So first of all I lost my jet bike, which was holding line breaker all the way over there from the sniper Jawas up in the building there, and then some shots were taken, some last cannon shots on this fire prism. I jinked, they missed. This one here also jinked, but the shots missed. And then this one here also jinked, and the shots were missed. So I actually didn't need to jink, but because of the cards he had, it was well worthwhile. So he did manage to get 2 points for that, and we've added the points up. It's 10 points on objective cards for me, plus First Blood, and Imperial Guard have 8 points, plus Slay the Warlord and Linebreaker, so it's currently 11-10 to the Eldar. I'm going to roll the dice and see if this game continues. A 6, the game goes on. Turn 6 coming up. Okay, so turn 6 for the Eldar. I couldn't pick any more cards up, so I'm stuck with the card to get that objective all the way over there where Darth Vader is standing. So pretty impossible. So I concentrated on Linebreaker, A, denying it, and B, getting it for myself. So I moved the fire prism up there into the Imperial Guard's deployment zone. And then I backed up this Wave Serpent, disembarked the Dar Avengers, who managed to take out the jet bike that was getting Linebreaker there. Everything else, apart from that tank, was snapshotting. I shot into the Darth Vader unit just to try and whittle a few down maybe if the game went on. They went to ground, they got full no pain because of a medic. I did however kill one of the stormtroopers. But that's going to be a tough nut to crack there, because there's another stormtrooper unit, so I'm pretty much, it's going to be impossible for me to get that objective. Okay, so we're going to move in now to turn 6 for the Imperial Guard. Okay, so Imperial Guard turn 6, and as we moved into turn 6 I realised actually I could have disregarded my card, I picked a new one, but there you go, just forgot to do that. Okay, so what happened? The Imperial Guard tried their best to reclaim Linebreaker all the way over here with their rattling Jawas. Moved down the building, but couldn't quite run into my deployment zone. The single jet bike in the middle of the board was the next target, and the stormtroopers managed to get into the assault and kill me. Just consolidated just outside of my deployment zone, so if the game goes on they're definitely looking to get Linebreaker. Everything else, managed to get prescience off one last cannon, the other one wasn't done. Shot at my fire prism. I did jink, of course, desperately trying to keep Linebreaker. I lost a hull point and was immobilised, but that was all. So I'm still claiming Linebreaker, and I've denied Linebreaker. One objective was scored for the Imperial Guard for, what did you score it for? Can't remember now.
It was hold ground, keep.
Oh yes. So it had half of his units in his own deployment zone, which gave him a point. So there's still just 1 point in it towards for the Eldar victory, but the game could go on. So let's roll the dice and see if it does or not. A 2. No, the game ends. So just the Eldar win by 1 point, but what an amazing game that was. Really, honestly, it was a fantastic game, great fun, and I love seeing the two Wraith Knights duking it out as well. As I said, I was very pleased, really, that they both sort of killed each other, because it would have been definitely a different game if one of the Wraith Knights had survived. So thank you very much, Scrag Guard, for the game. It's an awesome game.
Brilliant match.
And yeah, have you got any men of the match at all?
The Vendetta.
The Vendetta did do well, snapshotting twice and still did loads of damage. Man of the match for me, tough one, I think. Well, I suppose the Wraith Knight surviving on 1 wound for a whole round was pretty good, but ultimately these little Dar Avengers here saved Linebreaker and probably won me the game. So yeah, I'm going to give it to the Dar Avengers. Okay, there you go. So that is it. Really hope you enjoyed the game. I'm sure we will have another rematch. Don't forget in the meantime to check out Scrag Guards channel. The link is in the description below. It's well worth having a look at and giving a sub. Thanks for watching.